Welcome to Joe's Astrology, and this is the birth chart for Andrew Huberman, neurologist and YouTuber with, I believe, over 1 million subscribers. And he is a Sun Pluto in Libra. Libra Sun. We don't have the birth time again for Mr. Huberman. Moon in Gemini. Looks like it would have to be Moon in Gemini. And Mercury in Libra. So we see a lot of air. I mean, it makes sense. He's a neurologist. Couple things here with the aspect of air. Saturn. Saturn's in Leo, but it's at 0 degrees. So it's got that dual aspect to it, kind of similar to a Gemini. So we can equate that to more of this air energy. And he also has Uranus making a square to that Saturn at 0 degrees. So lots of air, lots of Gemini, lots of Mercury. And him being a neurologist makes perfect sense. He's got no Aquarius. So we see a YouTuber with no Aquarius. But here again, we see Uranus at 0 degrees. And we see Uranus conjunct Mercury there. So it's making a lot of aspects. We see it's conjunct his, making an aspect to his sun. It's making an aspect, a sextile to his Venus. It's making a square to Saturn. Possibly making an aspect to Moon. If we had the birth time, we don't know. So a lot of aspects with Uranus, and it's at 0 degrees. So we still see, even though we don't see the Aquarius, and again, we don't have the birth time. But we see lots of Uranian aspects. Speaking of Uranus, he's got it conjunct Mercury, so that is making, that's really good for him being a neurologist. It really quickens the mind and makes him a really good thinker, an electric, dynamic thinker. Certainly with all this air and with that contact there, we see a scientist, a neurologist, an intellectual. It's making the the sextile to Venus in Leo. So there's an opportunity there for him to make money and really present himself as this neurologist and be the actor, be the presenter, the showman for his science. And we see with Saturn and Leo again, there's the square with that Uranus. It's also making a sextile to his sun. So we see more of that work with him being a performer, performing his science on the internet, on stage, etc. We see Mars here making a trine to that Uranus Mercury aspect, and it's also in the same degree as his north node. It's also making a sextile to that Jupiter down there at 21 degrees Aries, and Jupiter's in Aries. It's ruled by Mars. So we see that Mars that I mentioned with driven people that make it big. They usually have like with these billionaires, they have this strong Mars, very driven. Mars in Gemini, very driven intellectually. Mars Jupiter sextile, very driven for that opportunity to take that opportunity to teach what he has to offer to the public and bring it to the public. He has a Mars Venus sextile. more opportunity there to lots of opportunistic aspects. The opportunity to perform and bring his creativity, bring his work to the world stage. Jupiter is making a trine to Venus, so this is a lucky guy. He's got one of the luckiest aspects that you can have, Jupiter Venus trine. Probably came from money. He's from Palo Alto. I'm sure he came from money or came into some money at some point to allow him or to help him become a doctor, get his PhD, etc. And Jupiter there with retrograde, he's redoing what he's teaching. He has that Jupiter because of that retrograde. It's emphasizing, and it's in the Sagittarius decan at 21 degrees. It's really emphasizing him as a teacher, and you can see it's in Aries. It's got that Mars flavor. He looks like a man. Looks like a man. He looks like a very masculine man. He's got the beard. He looks very strong. I think I've seen pictures of him with, he's got a lot of tattoos and very strong, muscular. Sun Pluto. This is a guy who he's that got that Scorpio. Even you see the Scorpio. This is interesting with Uranus and Scorpio. He has a Scorpio flavor to him. He's got the ability to be a psychologist, to dig deep. Also has a North Node in Scorpio. And speaking of the nodes, we see Venus. This is probably this is one of the most important parts of the chart as well. He's got Venus squaring the nodes in Leo. So we see that back and forth between Taurus and Scorpio. Very, very driven towards, you could say he's very driven towards helping people and really helping people dig deep psychologically. And there is good reason for him to deal with in some way or another in this life, to deal with things like possessiveness, materialism, money, etc. I don't without knowing him personally. Something to do with bringing this Taurus Scorpio into balance. And maybe in the future I can talk more about that if we get to know Mr. Huberman better. I think I will leave it at that today, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more great astrology content, and have a great day.